It's good to be here and good to chat with Claire. So I'll say a short word about myself. I teach in the College of the Humanities Bachelor of Humanities Honors Program, which is a 4-year degree program focused on the greatest works of literature, music, visual art, philosophy, religion. And the intention is to have a short chat with Claire about her experience in the college's Bachelor of Humanities degree program. My own academic training is in the study of religion, and with a preponderance of my studies directed at the religions of Asia. So that's something that I cover in the first year core curriculum course for the college. So I don't think you want to hear too much about me. I'd like to turn it to Claire and ask you, Claire, how you came to arrive in the college and a little bit about your experience so far.
Well, I very much arrived in the college sort of by accident. I originally applied to the journalism program at Carleton, and there's a wonderful joint journalism and humanities degree that I thought seemed interesting, and applied almost on a whim, and wound up staying in the humanities, even though I didn't wind up enjoying journalism as much as I thought that I would.
Mm-hmm. And am I right, Claire, that you're doing now the humanities degree with a joint major in philosophy? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
I am.
great. So I think that's something that is important to mention, that we have this Bachelor of Humanities degree, but it's now possible to do it in a joint program with the journalism school, but it's also possible to do our degree in a joint honors with philosophy or English or history or practically any other discipline at the university. We have one specifically tailored towards biology because some of our students go on to medical school and it gives them enough biology background to do so. So could you say something, Claire, about what you may have enjoyed the most in the program so far, or something that strikes you about the character of the Bachelor of Humanities?
For sure. By far the most striking thing when I contrast my experience in the humanities department with my experience in, say, the philosophy department, is how close-knit our little humanities community is. Our core courses have seminars from first year all the way through fourth year. So we spend a lot of time not only reading the great works of literature that Professor Salmond mentioned, but also discussing them in an academic context with each other and with our professors in hopes of finding a deeper understanding of each text we look at. And that has been just extraordinary from both like a social point of view. You really get to know the people you're studying with, but also from an academic point of view, you really get to understand the texts that you're working with.
Mm-hmm. And based on that, have you had any experience which has stood out for you in terms of a particular course or a particular reading or text in one of the courses that's made the most impression on you?
Certainly. In the second year of the program, our core course is called Reason and Revelation, and it's a tour through ancient Greek philosophy and medieval Christian theology. And I remember it was about this time in second year, we read Aristotle's Categories for the first time, and it is one of the most challenging texts I've ever read. And so having that discussion group where all of my friends and colleagues could get together and we could really hash out what in the world Aristotle was talking about in this very short but very dense text, it made the difference in understanding that particular work, which then, of course, the way the course is built, it builds upon itself. So understanding the categories was necessary to understanding the ethics and then the later texts that we read. So that really made a difference for me, and I think for a lot of people in that course, in understanding and appreciating that text better.
So I'm imagining that perhaps some of our listeners are thinking, well, Aristotle, that's a big name, but what on earth has that got to do with the contemporary real world? And so I'm wondering whether you feel that you've developed skills in the program that you can deploy in a variety of settings, or do you have anything you'd like to share with us in terms of your next step or your future trajectory?
For sure. I'm perhaps one of the less interesting people in my class to ask about next steps, because I will be going on to do a master's degree in philosophy, hopefully, and just sort of continuing along this same track of academic work. But I do know that regardless of whether or not my peers will wind up pursuing graduate school or some other opportunity, having that opportunity to work through a text as complicated as something like the categories makes every other text you approach seem a lot easier. And it gives you the tools for approaching a text and really understanding what it is arguing, what it is saying. And that's a skill that so far in my life has proved useful in every occupation. Everywhere you go, you're going to have to be able to read and understand the things that you're reading, and possibly even explain the things you're reading to other people. So regardless if you're sticking in academia like I intend to, or you want to go into the private sector or into even public service, humanities graduates will be looking at texts and reading texts and interpreting texts, and I can't think of a better education for learning that specific skill than the humanities education I've had.
Well, of course, we're thrilled to hear of our students continuing on in graduate school and potential careers in academia. Do you know what some of your peers in the graduating class are likely to head for? Sometimes, some years we have many show up in law school, and I think you're right, reading Aristotle's categories is a good preparation for getting your head around constitutional legal texts and makes short work of them. But have you heard from others which directions they may be going?
Yeah, I do know a few Bachelors of Humanities and Biology students who are planning to go to medical school. A number of my friends are applying to their law programs right now, preparing for the LSAT and all that mess. My partner is planning on going to teachers college, and she's also in the BHUM program. What else are people doing? Lots of grad school applications. I will be real frank about that.
Yes.
And I think a few of us are planning to pursue graduate school with the possibility of entering the civil service in the future.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, thanks very much, Claire.